Hey folks, what's up? This is Adam here, aka Cena Guy. Time for a movie review here on the Movie Vault. Not too long ago, I did some movie reviews with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger was one of my heroes growing up as a kid. Again, loved him in the Terminator films, loved him in Predator, True Lies, the Terminator movies, obviously, and Commando. That was a really fun flick. The Running Man was my favourite with him in it. But there's also one movie that I really love him in. And this film was like a commercial disappointment. And he got a lot of negative feedback. Can't understand why that, because I think this is a really fun flick. Talking about this movie right here, The Last Action Hero. Got it on Blu-ray. Uh, duh, 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 duh. There's no special features in this that's worth talking about, which I thought was really disappointing because there's a lot of scenes in this movie where there was a lot of blowing up scenes. There was a lot of scenes in the movie which I was like, how did they make that, or how did all that come about? Wish I would have put more effort into the special features. I mean, I remember when I had the DVD of this, there were some special features, and then when I saw the Blu-ray come out, I brought it on Blu-ray, I was like, it's going to give me more. Well, it didn't, so I was really disappointed about that. Okay. Again, it's nice to see the movie in Blu-ray, but at the same time, I wish it would have gave more in terms of like the special features and things like that. But again, it gave commercial failure, and I can't understand why. A lot of people would say it was like too childish, or there's a lot of too many far-fetched scenes in this movie. Well, big deal. Commando was a very far-fetched movie. The scene where Arnold Schwarzenegger jumps from the plane and like lands into that, like that swamp below, and he survives. Um, there's loads of far-fetched moments in Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, but that's what makes them really fun. Arnold Schwarzenegger really brought out the best in like far-fetched action movies, and I don't know why people take things so seriously. We all know they're movies, things like certain things can only happen in Hollywood and things like that. But this movie, people got really pissed off about, and I just can't understand why. I have a lot of fun in this movie. Again, Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie plays Jack Slater. There's also a scene in this movie where he plays himself also, and you see like the Jack Slater character and the Arnold Schwarzenegger character together. That's towards like the last half of the movie. We've got Austin O'Brien who plays the kid, Danny Manigan, who's a big cinema freak, a big movie buff, huge fan of Jack Slater. I mean, the film opens up with the film airing as Jack Slater 3, where Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Jack Slater. He's trying to save his son from the Ripper, who was on top of the school holding all these kids hostage, including his son. There's a little bit of movie interruption, so we don't really see what happened, and it turns out to be all along that it's taking place in the theatre, where Danny is watching his hero on the cinema screen. And then we get introduced to another character by the name of Nick, who works at the cinema, and he confirms that the next Jack Slater movie is coming out, Jack Slater 4, and he's going to see it before it opens all by himself. However, he does invite Danny to come and see the film with him as long as he attends school. But Danny is a good kid. He doesn't cause much trouble. He's a bit of a loner, doesn't really have any friends. Although many people who know him think he watches too much films, including his mother, his single mother who's widowed. But he skips school a lot. He doesn't pay much attention to schoolwork, and he's just really wrapped up in his hobby, which is like watching all these movies. There's a scene where he tries to leave the house in the middle of the night. He ends up getting attacked by a thug, handcuffed to the toilet while some things get stolen. But despite all this, he still wants to go and see Jack Slater 4 before it opens up in the actual theatre. So he does. He meets up with Nick, and Nick gives him this ticket, and which was held by some magicians before his time. And he says it's got a mind of its own, and it's like a teleport to a different world. Excuse me. And he gives him that ticket as a gift, to see the Jack Slater movie. One thing leads to another, and the ticket starts working, and while he's watching Jack Slater 4, Danny gets sucked into the movie world, in the same world where Jack Slater is, so he's like in the movie world, basically. So basically this ticket can teleport you to the movie world or into the real world, and that involves the characters from the movies and the people in real life. And from there we see some over-the-top crazy shit. I mean, there's a lot of gun shooting scenes, there's a lot of action scenes, like the scene where the ice cream van blows up and he gets like an ice cream cone to the back of the head. And Schwarzenegger's all like, I iced that guy, cone of freeze. So there's some really cheesy, over the top moments. Again, it was those moments that people mainly complained about, but it's a movie. Why not just fucking give it a blast? You know what I mean? Okay. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character Jack Slater is a great cop, although he gets a lot of stick from his boss because he's too busy causing buildings to be burnt down, causing destruction around the city when he tries to deal with the crimes. We get introduced to some villains. We've got Benedict with a glass eye. Now, I thought he was a really cool character. That's another thing that which I really like about this movie was the character development. I mean, Benedict with the glass eye, he's like got all these different glass eyes. 1 minute it's a target, the next minute it's a have a nice day smiley face. You know, a green eye, a red eye. He's got all these different eyes which he uses on different days. And when I was a kid, I found that really cool. I was like, oh, I want to have glass eyes when I'm older like that, just for that one fucking reason. You know, I mean, at the start of the film, they're holding Jack Slater's cousin hostage, Frank. You know, and basically Arnold Schwarzenegger was like on one big mission to try and find the guys who killed his cousin. You know, and throughout the film, Danny's trying to explain to Jack Slater that the whole thing is a movie. He was sucked into the movie world with the ticket. Of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't take Danny seriously. He thinks he's mental. You know, he doesn't buy this whole thing about it being a big movie world. And he doesn't buy the fact that Danny got sucked into the movie world with this ticket. No matter how many times he tries to remind him of his phrases and tries to take him to locations of where his cousin was murdered. Because Danny knows basically everything that's going on because he's seen the Jack Slater movies. And he's trying to convince Jack Slater that he knows what's going to happen next. You know, because he's seen them from a cinema screen, basically. Okay. We get a scene where they're in Jack Slater's daughter's house. And I think she was the same actress who played Sonya Blade in Mortal Kombat, I believe. You know, we get some shooting scenes from there. And basically, Jack Slater's goal is to track down Benedict to get vengeance for his cousin and all that, and the attack on his daughter, because there's a scene where they invade his daughter's home and, you know, she gets hit in the eye, she gets a black eye and all that kind of stuff. But throughout the whole movie, it's just one big action ride, and it's got its use of comedy, like the scene where Danny's like roaring through the air on a bike, which was took from the film E.T. You know, we see a funny scene like where Arnold Schwarzenegger's entering the cop station, and the T-1000 from Terminator 2 comes out the door. We got a cartoon animated cat called Whiskers, who is voiced by Danny DeVito. You know, I mean, they even got Tina Turner to play that little small role at the start of the movie as the mayor. You know, while Danny's watching Jack Slater free. You know, Tina Turner had a little role in this movie at the start of the film. Nothing to do with her singing, just that little role where she plays the mayor, basically. And I like how towards the end of the film, you know, Benedict has got one aim to try and kill Schwarzenegger so that no more Jack Slater movies can be made and to stop him from interfering with his plans. I mean, he brings back the Ripper by using the golden ticket because there's a scene where Schwarzenegger's character is taken into Danny's world, New York, you know, and they're trying to track Benedict down and all the other criminals and all that kind of stuff. And again, there's a scene where Jack Slater does come convinced now that his whole life has been one movie. And he does get a little depressed about that. But he tries to do the right thing by saving Arnold Schwarzenegger's life. Because Benedict is trying to kill him off so he can't make any more Jack Slater movies, so he can't interfere with his crimes anymore. And then there's the roof scene where the Ripper's this time holding Danny hostage and Schwarzenegger's trying to save him. A freaky looking character, but again he pulls it off really well. He ends up getting fucking electrocuted. And again, from start to finish, it's all about action, it's all about comedy, fantasy, over-the-top humour. I mean, the film itself, it's a fantasy action comedy film. I mean, the film was directed and produced by John Turner. That's right, John Turner. And the film came out of 1993, of June 13th of 1993. in Westwood. It came out in the United States of June 18th of 1993. Yeah, that's right. But again, when you list your Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, I'd say this one comes up in possibly the top 5 of the ones that are the most fun. You know, of course, Commando is up there. Of course, Terminator is up there. You know, there's loads of fun films with Arnold Schwarzenegger in, and a lot of people say he made a lot of dumb movies like Kindergarten Cop and things like that. But I haven't got a problem with those movies. But if I had to pick one movie in the top 5 that had to be the most fun, and it's one of those movies where I could sit back, have a beer, watch popcorn, or fucking have a blast, just having a laugh and just enjoy what's going on the screen, it's this movie, The Last Action Hero. It's one of those movies that I did watch quite a lot when I was a kid because I had a blast and I got a real good kick out of all the action scenes in this movie. Again, love the character development, love the creativity. You know, really got a good kick out of this movie. Uh, Again, towards the end of the movie, Danny tries to get Jack Slater back into the movie world safe because he got shot by Benedict. They get an encounter from the Grim Reaper by using the other half of the ticket. You know, he manages to get back safely. You know, Jack Slater's now aware that he's now in the movie world. Danny's watching him once again, you know, from his own world, looking up to his hero. And it's just one big happy ending, you know, because all the bad guys come to their demise in this movie. I'm not going to give away how or anything like that. It's just see the movie for yourself because it is one movie that is a must-see, especially if you're a Schwarzenegger fan. I mean, this was during the era when his movies were absolutely brilliant, you know, in the 90s. 1993, this movie came out. Again, it was a blast seeing it on Blu-ray, you know, with the explosive moments. I mean, another fun moment I have to say in this movie was the funeral scene. You know, the scene where that girl was implanted with them bombs and they dropped his body into all that dinosaur tar and all that kind of shit. You know, even the nun and the old women at the funeral had machine guns like that trying to kill Jack Slater with. There's an elevator scene where the elevator breaks off the side of the building and Schwarzenegger falls on top of a crane, you know, to try and save himself and all that stuff. So a lot of very over-the-top action scenes, but again, they're very enjoyable at the same time. You know, I'd have to say this movie is more fun than Commando. If I had to pick which I prefer between this and Commando, I'd probably have to say this movie. And I'm not putting Commando down. I think Commando's a really good film. Again, very fun and, you know, unique in its own way. But I like this movie more as Action Hero. It felt longer, and I felt like more creativity was added to it in terms of character development and things like that. Because every character in this movie is really well put together. Even Anthony Quinn, before his passing, was in this movie as well. He played Benedict's boss in this as well, so he played a good role in this. You know, so this, in terms of cast, we've got a lot of good cast members in this, and I think they didn't go wrong at any time with. Wait a minute, I think the director John McTiernan, yeah, I think he also directed Predator and Die Hard as well. Die Hard, which starred Bruce Willis. I'm pretty sure he did. I'm going to look that up. John McTiernan. Yeah, John McTiernan, the American filmmaker, who's still living, by the way. Yeah, he did No Man's, Predator, Die Hard, The Hunt of Red of October, Medicine Man, The Last Action Hero, Die Hard with a Vengeance, The Thomas Crown Affair, The 13th Warrior, Rollerball, Basic. Yeah. The last film he did was back in 2003, which was Basic, but like I say, he also did the Die Hard film and the Predator films. So he did 2 films with Arnold Schwarzenegger, The Last Action Hero and Predator. So overall, I'll just say this about The Last Action Hero. It's a must-see for those who like action films with their over-the-top sense of fun. You know, if you like blowing up scenes, if you like your action movies with a slight bit of comedy, then I recommend this movie. If you want to see a film that has Arnold Schwarzenegger in, but you expected to see a movie that's going to be very creative, very drawn into what's going on, then this movie is it. The Last Action Hero, you know. The cover of this is a bit basic, though. I will say that as well. The cover's a bit basic, you know, Schwarzenegger holding a gun. I like the poster of back in the day, you know, where he's hanging from the helicopter with the kid Danny under his arm. I thought that was much more of a better poster. I don't know why they changed it to this poster for. You know, it's a bit basic. The other one was more, you know, creative with the colours and everything like that. So yeah, it's highly recommended. Pay no attention to what all the critics say and about this film being a commercial failure. Check out the movie for yourself and you'll see where I'm coming from in terms of it being creative and very classy. So please like, rate and comment this, everybody. Email me if you get any questions. And like again, it's highly recommended that you check this one out with Arnold Schwarzenegger in. Definitely one of his best ones through the 90s era. Okay. Thanks for watching this, everyone. Leave all the comments below and we'll see you next time here on the Move Vault. Peace out.